Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, a podcast discussing meditation, the near-death experience, spiritually inspirational and transformative experiences. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. I'm your host, Jay Spillers, author and teacher. I wanted to remind you that if you'd like free one-on-one meditation coaching sessions with me, just hit the first link in the description and we can meet. We'll either meet on Zoom or StreamYard, and I can guide you through the process of starting a meditation program, help answer any questions you have or any concerns. But I'd just like to be able to offer the service of helping people to start meditating because it can transform your life. But today I have a guest. Her name is Jennifer. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So you had a spiritually transformative experience actually through meditation, didn't you?
I did. It was very profound, very enlightening. It had to do with actually speaking to Jesus and meeting Jesus. This occurred on September 18th of 2024, the night of the Harvest Moon, the Supermoon. And that day, I just convinced myself I'm determined to have a very involved meditation experience through the supermoon. And I previously that day meditated 2 times prior to the starting time of meditating along while the supermoon was at its height. And those 2 previous meditations actually both included images of the universe. When I meditate, I know that I'm connecting because the top of my head and the palms of my hands get freezing cold. So I know that that's when I am connecting. And I have tended to get into meditation very quickly. And it always involves very bright colors. So as I meditated when the supermoon was at its height, I turned on a video of 4 megahertz frequency and I began meditating. And right away, my head and my hands got cold. And I usually go from a smaller object to a larger object. And I very quickly get into a meditative state. And immediately I saw the universe, but in the center of the universe was this exquisite, ornate marble building with stairs. And there were 4 archways on either side of this marble building. And in the center was the highest arch. And out of that arch walked Jesus. And he had said that he was here to show me some things. And I was just like stunned. And all of a sudden he had said that since you've been talking about abilities so much this past week, which I was through near-death groups and, researching it on my own and talking about it to others, he put his hands up and he said, check out my abilities. And his arms were up and the universe, I could see everything, galaxies, planets, stars. I could see it all. And as he raised his hands and said, look what my abilities are, the entire universe, he began reforming it. It kept going in a circular pattern, but he took the universe, Earth and all the planets, and he actually added in a melody, a song, just really unique sounds. And the colors were so vibrant, and everything changed. The rings of Saturn filled up one entire side of what the universe would be. There were all the planets forming an archway through those rings of Saturn. And on the left, there were lots of stars and galaxies, lots of beautiful, vibrant color. And there were blues in the background, light blues, purples. And as you come around, he actually turned the sun into something that looked like an abstract painting. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was no longer round, it was flat. And it had yellows and oranges and reds, and it was kind of all misshaped. And I was just astounded watching this. And this melody is playing through, and I kept hearing this very, very distinct monotone sound, but it's so hard to describe. That it was an even tone mixed in with like symphonic melodies. And this tone also included like a bell tone, but it was constant. And this bell tone also had I think I could say maybe like a frequency to it. It was almost like the sound I was hearing was vibrating. And this was all happening at once with this one particular sound. And I was just astounded. And he said, there are so many possibilities and abilities that humans cannot even grasp, but I'm giving you a small window to what my capabilities are. And he then said to me, he walked down in this marble building. There were like long flat steps, and he walked down 3 of them, and he's looking at me, and he said, if you ever want to come and reach me, you can reach me here at this meditative level. You can always contact me, and I will be here for you. And hearing that from Jesus and thinking about my previous very profound NDE that included a warning for humanity and complete world reset. By this point in my journey, it's been about a little over 2.5 years. So, I'm still kind of second guessing what I'm thinking. Is this right? Am I following what God asked me? But after this experience, when I came back out of meditation, I was just in tears, sobbing, because I felt so blessed that Jesus did this for me. And I couldn't believe that I had such a profound experience meditating during a supermoon. And, I did say to myself previously that day, I really want to open myself up. And I think I did. I think I managed to do that. But to know that I can reach Jesus anytime and he's always there specifically for me is, just astonishing. Um, I'm so blessed, and it's such a heartfelt thing that I've gone through, that experience gave me that deeper sense of, okay, I am on the right path. I am doing what God asked me to do. This experience made it concrete for me that I am on the right path. And if I listen to my instincts and do as I've been doing, going slowly and methodically, listening, paying attention to instincts, trying to find out the things that I shouldn't be following. And, doing my best to share what God has asked me to share. And I've been doing all that. But throughout the process, I've been learning, and I've been getting signs like this. And I just feel so incredibly blessed, is all I could say, that I went through this. The colors and the sounds and the everything that happened was just so unique. I immediately did a quick kind of crude painting of it, but also I went into Google and I explained that type of sound that I heard throughout the time when Jesus was rearranging the universe. And I described it as I did here, and it came up with a 60 million year old Neanderthal flute, which is made from dinosaur bone. And the Neanderthals supposedly use this for music and communication. So that's what I got from researching it. And I don't think that I would be led astray from what Jesus or God has told me. So I do believe that it is this 60 million year old flute, which was another astonishing thing to me. All the incredible instances of what has happened since learning more after having my second profound NDE. I just keep adding on more experiences and more amazing things that have happened to me. And I have become convinced that I'm set to learn almost every lesson that God has put in the Bible, because I've had so many already. And I've been strong enough to get through a lot of very, very difficult personal issues and life issues. And I've been very strong on truth, honesty, and giving the praise to Jesus and God where it belongs. And that's me. That's what I believe. So, yeah, this definitely was extremely transformative and gave me that concrete setting to continue more aggressively on my mission. And I speak to Jesus, I think, almost daily, asking forgiveness, questions, give me signs. But I feel very, very lucky. I really do. And I wish that, like I have certain family that they just, and I know many people go through this, that they just don't believe. But when you're there, when you're in reality, you're there. To me, there's no way that somebody is going to dispute that to me. And this is my experience. And for the people who understand, I hope they understand how beautiful and profound it is. Jesus can come to us, even through meditation. I'm sure there's many, many more transformative experiences that can occur. So, yeah, this experience has been amazing for me. And I do meditate frequently. And as I stated, it usually involves a lot of color. And I've had so much more information come through meditating. And I think it's such an important part of keeping peace of mind and learning more things about our abilities. And any subject, I think through meditation, you could have enhancement on. And I am a true believer in meditation, and I love that you share it with the world, Jay.
You're listening to the Inspire Me with Jay podcast. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, bringing hope and inspiration to the world.
Well, yeah. How
So
long have you been meditating for?
I started for about 6 months. This was January of 22. I had my experience, my NDE, and for literally like 7 months, I couldn't talk. And then I began getting into groups, and I learned about meditation and how profound it can be. And that's when I started. And when I started, I tried a couple different ways of trying to do meditation for myself. And I found the perfect way for me personally to get very quickly into a meditative state. It works for me, so that's what I stick by. And I've been meditating. It's a little over 3 years now, and I meditate at least 3 times a week. So I believe it's very calming, relaxing, all those good things.
But what is the way that you meditate? What works for you?
Well, I ground myself. I ground myself prior. I usually take an Epsom salt bath, and then I'll sit on something that's low because I'm short, so I can get my feet flat on the ground, or even go outside and walk through the grass with no shoes on to ground myself. But then I'll sit with my palms up, and I imagine whatever it is, animals, structures, landmarks, but it goes from smaller to larger. And what usually works best for me is insects and animals. And I go from the smallest, imagining it, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time I'm like closer to the biggest insect or animal, I'm already in that meditative state. I mean, I've had so many that have been profound. You know, I floated over a river once, and that was just an amazing feeling. This beautiful rolling rock river with beautiful landscape, and I was there, and I was shown a grave, and I think it was a forgotten grave. But I said some words, and I told the person that I was aware that they're there and they could speak to me. And I floated back across the river. And that was another amazing meditation. But and then I will, I'll do breathing throughout this as well, breathing through the nose and out through the mouth as I'm thinking of the smaller object to the larger, and doing the same coming out of it, but going backwards. And when I had the one with Jesus and I came out of it and I was sobbing, I don't know if anybody else has felt it, but I could see in my mind I was surrounded by white light, and I also could like feel the radiating of it, the frequency of it. So that was another thing that was really beautiful to me. So yeah.
So, um, do you have an experience virtually every time you meditate, like, that's profound
Yeah,
like that?
I pretty much. I do. I've had quite a few, and I did one. I did one with the Who song, the singing the Who, and you do that for 2 minutes. And I saw my father. He was there. He was off in the distance, but my father's there waving to me. So that was very special to me because me and my dad were very close. Um, Other experiences, a lot of them have to do with, there was one that involved a lot of color. And I did a meditation with a group. And we were just asked to, see what we see. And I seen numbers, Roman numerals, and they were separated into threes, but they made a hexagon shape. And I was told, I heard a voice say, this is all connected to the force of water, the elements of water, and the existence of water. And I did write it down, and some of the numbers actually were associated in different ways with water and the periodic table. So, I don't know what it is with me, but I normally don't dream. I don't remember dreams. When I am asleep, I either have people that have crossed over come to me, or some other vision or experience that I'm either being warned, I'm being told information. Um, I think there's something kind of unique about me, and I'm told that I'm an empath. I'm told that I'm a medium. I know that I'm a psychic. It's proven 15 times with strangers. So, trying to, I kind of want things to come naturally for me. I don't like to delve too much because I already know that I have these abilities, and I like things to come naturally. I don't want to confuse my mind with reading things that may not particularly help the meditation process or any other process. So I do read and research and learn a lot about everything. And that's pretty much what I've been doing for the last 3 years. I read and study everything. I talk very little except for on interviews or, speaking to people about these types of experiences. But I feel like I'm in this period of just research and learning. And I'm trying to learn about everything. And I even go to other churches just to experience what they practice. I'm interested in all religions, not just one and saying this one is right. You got to listen to this. We are all one. We are all human. We have the same needs and desires. And I know we all want what's best for us. So I'm looking at the world as a whole, as one. There is no religious discrimination with me. So maybe I'm more open in that way. I don't know, but it's been very interesting. Yes, and recently I just had that shared near-death experience with my mother. She just passed away last week, so that's another one to add to all my experiences.
So it seems like water is a pretty powerful thing in meditation, because I like to listen to water sounds when I meditate, and it seems
Yes,
like it's a very relaxing, calming thing. There's like a certain power in water.
yes, yes, there is. I actually live in a riverbed. The river has shrunk. It's the Fox River, but it is smaller, but our homes are actually, this river used to be over a mile wide to where my house is. And it's actually, they say it's a valley, but it's actually the riverbed. And the way that they built our sewer systems in the 50s, there's constantly water running underneath us. So I have that. So that may be another conduit.
Have you ever wanted to learn to meditate? Check out my book, Meditation for Everyone: How to Quickly Have a More Peaceful, Mindful, and Fulfilled Life, and support this channel. With Meditation for Everyone, you will learn to quickly and easily meditate, relieve stress and anxiety, alleviate depression, and have more joy, peace, and relaxation. What you will learn: mindfulness, the art of stillness, step by step on how to meditate, strategies for overcoming challenges to meditation, and much more. D. Mason said this is a nice meditation book, even for those already meditating. I agree with the statements that it will help to have a more peaceful, mindful, and fulfilled life. 4.6-star rating, available on Amazon. So you said you had a near-death experience. Oh, go ahead. You said you had a near-death experience like 3 years ago. What happened during that near-death experience?
That's very long and involved, and I've come to try to separate it into 3 parts. There's the part when I got sick from sepsis and initially went into the near-death experience. There's another part that's all about angels showing me a hell, and then there's information. And then there's another part with the complete reset warning for humanity. So I'm not sure which one you'd like to hear because my experience, I can really talk about it for an hour and a half.
Well, why don't you tell us about the first part of your near-death experience?
I had a series of 8 spinal surgeries, and I was paralyzed in 2018, and my spinal cord was severely damaged, and I was paralyzed. So they did a series of 8 surgeries trying to relieve nerve pain and release nerves and to, help me learn how to walk. And on January 22nd of 2022, I went in for my second low back fusion. Surgery went well, but they sent me home due to COVID still hanging around. And by the time I got home, I was okay for a little while, took some medication, laid down, and I was already slipping into a coma. My daughter came to check on me, and things weren't right. I couldn't speak properly, making sentences that made no sense. And I was rushed to the hospital in a coma. And I did get to speak to the ER physician. There were 8 doctors working on me. They were trying to keep me alive. All my organs shut down. My brain had no oxygen. My lungs filled with fluid. They took fluid out of my lungs and my kidneys shut down. So they worked on me for an hour and a half. From what I am told, because I did speak to the ER doctor, I said, I know that I had a near-death experience with this. And I explained it to him. I said, at the point when this started, there was nobody in the room. And I could see all the equipment, everything hooked up to me, all the instruments. And he said that we walked, all 8 of us walked out of your room to the next room because somebody else in that room was dying. So he said that had to be the point when I started my NDE. And I could see myself. I had an OBE. I was over my body. I could see the room. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this whitish gray space, laying horizontally. My eyes were not open, but in my mind, I could see these beautiful gold orbs that had radiating gold. Told me, you're here awaiting a decision, and we are angels. We're here for you. And they began telling me, because I noticed my 10 family members off to the left of me, and everything was telepathic in my mind. And they said, your family is here for you, but you're not to talk to them because we are here giving you information and you're waiting for a decision. So they gave me information about reincarnation, quantum physics. They took me 17 million light years away to 5 planets that were brand new being formed. And that was for the purpose to let me know, to tell others that, yes, there is other life in the universe. And I actually found those planets after searching for 3 days on NASA's sites, exact spacing, exact color, 17 million light years away. They initially told me, we're taking you millions of light years away, but through NASA, I verified it was 17 with the same exact planets. I then was, there awaiting a decision, and these golden angelic orbs said, we want to also give you a vision of a hell. And all of a sudden, this blackness came across my consciousness, and I saw these really large onyx, sharp, tall, leaning, flat stones. And I was told that when you pass away, when a human passes away, you are either consciousness, you can be seen that way, or you can be seen in your human form. So I seen people that were naked, men and women, on these rocks that were very sharp. There were these negative, evil-looking things. Their faces were distorted, their hands were distorted, and their feet were distorted. But they had a very deep brown, like with a hint of orange in the skin. And it was like shiny. It was odd. And these entities were pushing and pulling all the souls that were there, because these were people that were refusing to believe in God. They didn't care what they had done on this planet. They didn't care who they hurt. And when they arrived in this realm of heaven, they told the angels that they didn't care. So this was them getting a lesson to try to bring them back to ask for forgiveness. But what I saw was these people being bloody, cut up, feet cut up, and these negative entities would not let them sit. And I said to the angelic orbs, I said, please, I don't want to see this anymore. Seeing that, the very first night I came home, I began horrific nightmares, woke up screaming and crying every night for 6 months straight, because I seen that negative entity in my house, in the blackness. There was like a black wall, and it was standing there, and I'm standing there looking at it, and it's telepathically talking to me, and it's saying, you could come to our side. It's very easy. I had this and it was terrifying. And that's pretty much the first part of my near-death experience with sepsis when it started.
Have you ever wondered whether the Bible was compatible with a near-death experience? In my book, Heaven's Truth, the parallels between the Bible and the near-death experience, your faith will be strengthened while you support this channel. In Heaven's Truth, you will learn about near-death experiences and other similar experiences in the Bible. Support for the Bible contained in NDEs. A central theme that runs through both the Bible and NDEs. How the NDE brings the Bible to life for these modern times. Evidence for both the Bible and the NDE, and much more. Great book. Spillers does an excellent job weaving the relationship between NDEs and the scriptures. 5 stars on Amazon. Available on Amazon.
And then it goes into the complete world reset. After the angels told me about reincarnation and how everything is controlled by quantum physics. And I had another verification with that. I had an auto writing. I found this in my house, and I vaguely remembered that I wrote it, but what I wrote, I couldn't understand. And I realized that it came to numbers for the periodic table. It had symbols. It had the mass of the universe, mass of the earth, quantum physics equations, and all of these numbers that are relevant to quantum physics. And I, at that point, I certainly didn't know anything about quantum physics at all. So I found this, I wrote it, and that to me was a confirmation that, okay, they did tell me about this. I was there, and this is a confirmation. So, yeah, it's been very, very difficult if adding in that complete world reset and God talking to me and asking me to complete a mission. I've had to reevaluate myself, my behavior, how I treat people, what I should do, how I should react, what is the best way to tackle this mission, how I can get other people to help me along the way. So I've taken it very seriously, and it's been very, very profound. It's only 3 years, but I've had this instinct that I'm not going to live longer than 10 years. So I have really pushed myself to learn and research and try to do as much as I can in a short span of time.
So, like the people that were in hell, do you believe that they have the opportunity to eventually
Yes.
get out and be with God,
Yes.
go to heaven?
They did tell me that. That's why they told me they were getting this lesson, because God wants, Jesus wants, they want everybody to be saved. And that was told to me also from God in the complete world reset discussion. He wants everybody saved. He doesn't want people to deny that, there isn't this paradise, this amazing space, heaven, that people can't go to. And it was very, very harsh. I mean, it was a harsh lesson. And for those people that want to completely deny God, it's very heartbreaking to me, because I know that could be one of the possibilities. And they did say, yes, if they're willing to accept it and ask for forgiveness, they will be forgiven. It's very hard for me because, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard other NDEs that say hell functions more like a purgatory. It's
Yeah,
more
that's what it kind of
remedial. It's
seemed
more
like to
about.
me. Sure. Yeah, that's a good understanding. But I was also told there are many levels of heaven and many levels of hell. So this was actually what was told to me, that this is a lesser version of a hell. So if this is a lesser version, I would hate to see another more in-depth version. When I came home and I was thinking about this, hell experience, I just immediately thought I would not want my worst enemies to go to that place. And I, you know, I feel everything in my heart now. And I also feel like I could feel what God is feeling in certain moments. And it's very heart-wrenching. To which I've seen a lot on the internet lately, that you can't believe in God. Religion's false. Well, what I say to that is, you can believe me or not believe me, but regardless of that, you're going to go before God and you will have your time to speak. So, in my mind, it's no question. There's no question. I can only offer advice. I can offer what my experience is. And this is what God told me. Humans are meant to have free will to make their own decision. But for me, it's I know the possibilities. So there's the beautiful, amazing possibilities, but then there's, some very, very terrible possibilities. And it tears my hair out, tears my heart out when I hear people denying.
Well, maybe there's a difference too between, like some people are just sort of skeptical, they
Yeah.
like God to be true, they just
Yeah.
don't know. And then there's other people
Sure.
that are kind of recalcitrant, very mocking, and they're sort
Yeah.
of on a different level than just the
Yeah.
skeptic.
I think that too. I actually believe that a lot of people are kind of, really worried because they have sinned, and they would rather say, no, I don't want to think about it, instead of, really studying and learning. And I understand that. I mean, I get that. But then there's the other people, like a family member of mine that, he just said some horrible, horrible things about God, and denying, and things he said he was going to swear and say horrible things to God. And I just stepped back and I said, whoa. I said, don't say that to me, because you're in trouble. I don't want to hear it. And that's a family member. So, yeah, I gotta, do my best to just share what I've experienced and what I know from the Bible, and everybody else makes their own decision. That's the way it goes.
What's the reset that humanity is going to undergo?
Ooh. That involves, well, when these angelic orbs were done telling me about quantum physics and reincarnation, they said, God wants to speak to you. I heard and I seen this incredible white light. There already was white light there with billions of these golden orbs going in and out of it in the distance. But when they said God wants to speak to you, in my mind, I seen this brilliant white light and this voice, this strong, stern, very commanding voice, but also kind in a way. And he said, I'm going to give you a complete world reset vision. I want you to share it with the world. I want you to share everything that you have witnessed, heard, or seen here. And all of a sudden, I see the entire planet like I'm above the planet. And it was constant zooming in and out. But this hole opened up between Japan and California. And the pressure, the force, the depth and width was so fast and so quick that nothing could escape from it. South America, or the southern hemisphere, was gone. Japan was gone in an instant. came over to California, and the San Andreas Fault broke off in one piece. And then I zoomed in, and I'm seeing, people falling over cliffs, and cars and buildings falling into the ocean, and, land just being torn. And I went over to Rhode Island, and I seen a lot of brick bridges for some reason. But I seen this adorable little kitten get crushed by a building. Went over to St. Louis. The arches lifted while the whole United States is filling with water. And through this gaping hole in the ocean, it's beginning to crack all along the Gulf, the equator, basically, and open up where more water is rushing in. And icebergs are pulling down from Canada, Antarctica. It's all just this is how much force it is. Pulling down, coming in, just sliding over buildings like they're nothing. And I'm seeing people with catastrophic injury, horrible things that it's in my mind and I can't get rid of it. But God obviously thought I was strong enough to handle this. So I'm seeing all these catastrophic injuries, people trying to find somewhere to go, but there is nowhere to go because everything is being covered with water instantly. I'm seeing people chest high in water, holding their dogs, their cats, their children, trying to find somewhere to go. There's nowhere to go. I've been told that my NDE is too terrifying, but what it is God wants people to see this and understand this is a warning. And, I went around to Vegas, and it was like it was raining glass in a river. There's so much water coming into, and then icebergs and land falling and people falling in water. And go over to Europe, and the Thames, everything's filling with water, but the Thames in Europe split in the middle and they fell inward. It's just catastrophe instantly. There is no being saved. Everybody will be gone. And in Russia, I seen just a lot of ice, and a lot of the similar catastrophe. And God stated to me that this would happen so quickly. There would be no suffering. People would not suffer. So that's the only solace I can take from it. But what's in my head, I've made a kinder version, a kinder video of it. But I really, as God stated, I want everybody to see the graphicness, because this is something that I grappled with, because God entrusted me to share it, and share it the way he showed it to me. And I know people say it's terrifying, but on the other hand, with the state of the world and the way it's been for thousands of years, and the evil we just can't seem to get rid of, I completely understand why God would do it. And so when I came out of this complete world reset, God said to me, "You're not staying, you're going back." And instantly I woke up. A doctor was standing over me, and he was shocked. He had this look of shock on his face, and he said, "You shouldn't be here. I don't know why you're here. You should be dead. You're a miracle." And I very gradually started remembering these things that happened, but I still didn't have all the oxygen to my brain. So I was kind of a little incoherent, and I'm remembering remembering these things, and each day they're getting clearer and clearer. And by the fifth day in the hospital, I already realized my psychic ability. And I felt something about a nurse. I asked her about it, and she said, yes, how could you possibly know? I said, I don't know. But I did. And from that point on, in public, this just happens to me. I get connected to people. I feel like I have a magnet in my core, and I'm connected to somebody. I get information, and I feel obligated to tell them. So I feel like I was chosen to do this because I'm strong, because I don't back down, because I when I have something, I believe in it, I go with it wholeheartedly. And there's no way, not just did God save me this time, but 2 other times where I shouldn't be here. And, there's no way that I'm going to deny anything that God would ask me. And something that I came across, a thought, was to ask the world, if God asked you right now to give up your life the same way Jesus did and be put on a cross, would you do it? I said yes immediately to that question. And I know that's a very hard question, but for me, that was a way for me to show, not just that I thought of that question, but to show my depth of sincerity.
So where can people reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you?
I am on YouTube. I have several links listed on my Facebook page. It's Jennifer on Facebook. On YouTube, I'm at JCM Adams, WUM. And Instagram is, what is Instagram? J Morris Warrior.